r/white people Twitter. Backstep Records says, we were fighting for them too. Included photo. Full War 1860 says, somehow they will just blame the Democrats. Cool Bobby 1978 says, yep, that's their playbook. Frick everything up and blame the Dems. The Dems like Biden start to fix their frick ups, and if they don't fix it fast enough they are blamed again. So let's give power to the people who keep making the messes instead of the ones cleaning them up. When this shit goes sideways, and it definitely will, the gals responsible will blame the libs and call them enemies of the people and float rounding them up. Dilbusmk says, Murdoch taught them well. He's the true master of Western democracy. The Vivitarinian 350 says, they won't blame their guy. It'll be whatever Bujiman they get told to blame. I, for one, cannot wait to see their faces after the leopards eat them. My inbox is flooded with all BS stuff after this election. Zero sympathy. r/white people Twitter. Giltibathroom 9385 says, facts. Included photo. (1984) Isa Midlifecrisis says, it turns out that if you can make people afraid they'll do anything. If I strap a cage with a rat in it to your face and tell you that I will let that rat chew your face off, if you don't do as you're told, you will do as you're told. Deep Poem 55 says, the Trumpkins have voted in the instrument of their demise. Pacman 114 says, I agree with the sentiment, but this is not a George Orwell quote. Buster the Rallone says, this time, I think the people were Marizo accessories. Usrius Clark says, they are accomplices with victim potential though. They just don't know it yet. Dio Overzawirudo says, honestly, if there were ever a time to hit the giant red button that leaks everything that keeps getting buried about Trump's crimes, now would be the time for Anonymous to slap that button. Broaded 5229 says, how long before the book bans get to this man? White Smoker Mushroom says, there are two types of voters, the ones who voted for the candidate who lost, and the ones who approved the candidate who won. r/white people Twitter. THX1138 says, and so she did. Included photo. Something Gab2 says, sexual predator, seller of our national secrets, insurrectionist, COVID-19 politicizer costing 600k more lives, habitual liar, and all-around hat-mongers in chief, is going back to the highest office in the land. The kicker is many of those who voted for him after all I've seen and heard are so proud of their accomplishment. Cartman for Wessam says, don't forget, he raped a child. The FBI allegedly has a photo they seized from Epstein of Trump with a topless 14-year-old. Not Thatted says, had a photo. This was taken in by the FBI during Trump's last term, so is surely gone. Edit, removed extraneous not in front of surely. Deep Poem 55 says, I'm so scared. Let's Loop Forever says, I feel you. But that is also what fascists want us to be. I'm not even American, and I'm absolutely devastated. We can't give up, but I totally feel you, though. Gunmerica says, America got what it deserved tonight. Democracy here is done. The House of Representatives is gone. The Senate is gone. The White House will now be run by a traitor to democracy, J.D. Vance. This nation is going to go into its darkest and possibly last stage. With it will come violence that dons a mask of perverse patriotism, wrapped in the colors of a flag that had faded and stitched together with a necklace bearing a Christian cross, upon which a white Jesus sits. The violence that happens here will not be alone. Many other nations will suffer as the bastion that once kept others at bay, such as Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea will instead become their allies. The policies that will dictate this will be mirrored unless you separate from us. Unfortunately tonight, America has become your enemy. We have whittled away at our own education and weaponized fear. r/white people Twitter. Giltibathroom9385 says. Agreed. Included photo. SL0 Pieter says. This is why people went out and voted early in record numbers. You had to know they were going to try to sabotage shit any way they can. Apo1994 says. I think the county courts allowed for extended voting because of this. Royal Acanthasari 693 says. The problem is that lots of people can't wait around. Texas Proof says. And lots of people were understandably scared. Dissenter Cerna Mestaken says. Russia needs to be punished with the swiftness. Stranger Zero Re says. For every bomb threat, let's send 10 missiles to Ukraine. Vastid 6346 says. This, more than 10. It'd also be great if we could drop some extra military intelligence for each, make them pay for it more quickly. Honestly, I like to think I'm not a warmonger, but it's a damn good thing it's Joe in office and not me. This active impeding of our electoral process sure feels like an act of war. Miserable Summer 828 says. Washington and Jefferson would be appalled. As every president since. These are troubling times for democracy, but we will come out following the light of freedom. r/white people Twitter. Estefxi220 says. Iowa is turning blue. Included photo. Estefxi220 says. No breaks. Don't get comfortable and get out there and vote. Not just Iowans, but everyone, even if you're in a safe state. Let's go. Outlaw Sundown says. Already voted, ready for this to be done. Would be pretty nice to see Trump tank hard though. Imagination Normal 845 says. I fall asleep dreaming of every single state being called for Kamala, one after the other, a total blowout. One Ingrampage says. Don't get confident. We all need to vote blue. Tell everyone to vote like we are losing or not ahead. Tuba Catcherall says. We need to run up the score so high that any level of cheating and bullshit would be pointless. Variation Logical 4939 says. Not a win, not a landslide, a slaughter. Zombie Caplips says. Frick around with women's rights and find out. Mickey Old 58 says. I'll believe it when I see it. Matt Netherlands says. It's happening. Trump is a shitty candidate running a horrible campaign that is based purely on hating immigrants, people of color, and women. This was never going to be a dead heat despite what mainstream media wants you to believe. r/white people Twitter. Dragon in Plain Sight says. This was the plan all along. Included photo. MurphDog1508 says. The most devastating news is they will control all three branches of government and will ram through all their Project 2025 initiatives and further the division and hatred their platform ran this race on. Bosi Bob says. While the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, but they think they won. Lamberley says. And the hilarious part is that they won't get poorer right away. Biden's policies will lift the us even higher and really start to be felt by average Americans well into Trump's presidency. He'll naturally claim all the credit for it, his moronic cult will agree, and when Trump passes disastrous policies that destroy our economy, it will be right on schedule for some poor Democrat schmuck to win the election and have to deal with it assuming there's an election in 2028. Groundbreaking Age 591 says, problem is the uneducated are growing their numbers at an alarming rate. JRH8W7 says, if you haven't seen the movie Idiocracy, please do. Their explanation as to why this happens is a lot better than I would be able to describe here. Out in Left Field says, welcome to Costco, I love you. r/white people Twitter. Birthday Boy Stabman says, Rafael Edward Ted Frick, face Cruz. Included photo. Boxcan1 says, I'm waiting for all these results to be official before I talk my shit. Ludriadny says, agreed. But if Harris wins, I'm stoked to unleash some hardcore razzing. Frosty Chili says, I have 2 boxes in my room, one has a single party popper, a Dr. Pepper, and some Loft House cookies for Kamala winning, the other has a single Dorito, a Diet Coke, and gummy bears from last Halloween. I left this box by the heater for Trump winning. Blandical50 says, let's hope. Texas is not known for being very pro-woman or democracy. Starscup 1999 says, I did my part to get rid of that waste of skin. Ortheist Pianist says, thank you, so did I. Voted for all red last Wednesday, I want so badly to unseat Cruz finally. Alternative View 5997 says, let's hope and pray. That's all for this video, thank you for watching, please subscribe.